Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My dear brothers and sisters, to the first night of our 3-night Arbaeen program. And inshallah we'll begin as always with the recitation of the Holy Quran. A few verses of Quran, and inshallah it is followed by a lecture with our respected scholar, Sheikh Mohammad Hadi Taleb, inshallah. With your loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم inshallah. Tonight we are honored to have with us Sheikh Mohammad Hadi Taleb, a scholar, educator, and a researcher with many years of experience in both Hausa studies and academic philosophy. And Sheikh Mohammad Hadi Taleb was born and raised in Iran and entered in Hausa in Qom in 2006 at the age of 14. And during his studies, he developed a particular focus on Arabic, fiqh, usul, and philosophy. And since 2017, he has also been participating in advanced Dars Kharaj studies. Alongside his Hausa education, he completed a master's degree in philosophy in 2020, and he is currently working on his PhD thesis in comparative philosophy at the University of Qom. And he has taught a variety of subjects in Hausa, including Arabic, theology, and ahkam. And he has also completed several courses focused on the tarbiyah and the development of children and youth. And in addition, he founded a boys' youth organization in Qom with a focus on spiritual growth and character development. So we are very grateful to have him with us tonight, particularly during these blessed days of Arbaeen, inshallah. And please welcome him with your loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وصلى الله على سيدنا وحبيبنا أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين. روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Dear brothers and respected sisters, Assalamu alaikum. When we look at the rawayat that talk about end of times, we see that the focus is usually on the negative side of the, or negative traits of the end of times, Akhiru Zaman. For example, you've heard this rawaya that the reappearance of Imam al-Hujjah Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajuh Sharif will be after the time that the earth is filled with corruption and oppression. بعدما ملئت ظلما وجورا. Most of the time, when we heard or we hear about Akhiru Zaman, end of the times, we hear about the negative traits of Akhiru Zaman. For example, you can have wealth in the Akhiru Zaman unless you do dhulm to others. This is one of the traits of Akhiru Zaman. In the Akhiru Zaman, in the end of times, believers will be considered backwards people. These are the traits and characteristics that are mentioned in Abu Riwayat about Akhiru Zaman. But what I want to say that these riwayat that talk negatively about Akhiru Zaman is only one part of the riwayat. These are not all the riwayat. We have other riwayat that talks about mu'mineen and believers at the end of times positively. If we want to look at the riwayat, we have to look at two sides, not to focus on only the negative side. This is a reality. Whenever the situation becomes difficult, the people that they grew up in that situation, in that difficulty, they will be better mu'mineen and better believers in terms of quality. Yes, maybe the quantity is not that much, but what is important is the quality. When we have a hard situation, those who come out of that situation successfully, they are better mu'mineen, even better than the situation if the environment was prepared for them. This is what we can see in the rawayat that talks about end of times. We can look at two examples. One of them is Karbala. In Karbala, how many people stood against Imam Hussein on the battle, in the plain of Karbala? They narrated different numbers, 20,000, 30,000. How many people were on the side of Imam Hussein, with Imam Hussein? 100, 200 all together, with the family, women, men, women, children, 200 people. On the Yazidi side, we see cruelties, we see ruthlessness that is unprecedented in the history. But on the other side, on the side of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we see royalty to Imam Hussein to the extent that never precedented as well in the history. You know that the night before Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam told his companions that if you want to leave, you can leave. You will be amongst the people of Jannah. Don't worry. I take away my bay'ah from you. You can go. If those people were people that they were after Jannah, after paradise, they would say, Alhamdulillah, I wanted to get my Jannah. Imam said, you will have your Jannah without being killed with me on the plain of Karbala. So I can leave. But they didn't leave. You see, from the oldest, from Habib, from Muslim ibn Awsaja, to the youngest, the level of Iman is so high that it's fascinating. Why that happened? Why did that happen? What was the cause? You see that when the situation is very hard, is very difficult, people that they come out of that situation, even if the quantity is not high, but the quality is good. To the extent that a very young person, like Qasim ibn al-Hasan, Imam Hussein alayhi salam asked him, how do you see death in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, Ahla min al-asad. Sweeter than honey. At 13 years old. That they have a lot of dreams. I want to do this for my life. I want to get this degree, that degree. Make my life like a very successful life. He sees the death in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sweeter than honey. Another example. When US attacked Iraq after September 11th, then you saw that after Saddam was gone, you see that there was a sort of, we can say, cultural revolution amongst Iraqi youth in the way that it was taking them away from religion very fast. Enemies spent millions, or we can say billions of dollars to change the mindset of Iraqi youth people. And then Daesh came to the picture, a group that was made for the enemies to fight Muslimin from inside. Then you see that in that time, after the fatwa of jihad of Ayatollah Sistani, hafadhahullah, those youth that enemies spend millions of dollars to change their mindset, at that time of difficulty, they went and became shaheed. So it's not that when the situation is difficult, we can't have anything in that difficult environment. No. We have some riwayat talking about the Iman, the faith of people in the end of times. Look how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi recite the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Describes the Iman of the people at the end of times, in Akhir al-Zaman. Ya Ali, Rasulullah addressing Imam Ali alayhi salam. Ya Ali, وَأَعْلَمْ أَنَّ أَعْجَبَ النَّاسِ إِيمَانًا وَأَعْظَمَهُمْ يَقِينًا قَوْمٌ يَكُونُونَ فِي آخِرِ الزَّمَانِ لَمْ يَلْحَقُ النَّبِيُّ وَحُجِبَ عَنْهُمُ الْحُجَّةُ فَآمَنُوا بِسَوَادٍ عَلَى بَيَاضٍ. O Ali, Rasulullah addressing Imam Ali alayhi salam, know that the people with the most remarkable faith and the greatest certainty are those who will live in the end of times. Who? People at the end of times. What do they have? أَعْجَبُ النَّاسِ إِيمَانًا. They have the most remarkable faith. Who is saying that? Rasulullah is saying. So he is comparing the Iman of people of his time with the people of our time. He's seeing the whole history. And he's saying, I know what is Iman. And I'm telling you, Ya Ali, their Iman is much stronger. Their yaqeen is much stronger than the people that they are living now at the time of Rasulullah himself. So who are the people that they have the strongest of Iman, the most remarkable faith? People at the end of times. Why? What's the reason? The reason is within difficulties, you have opportunities. When you have difficult situation, yes, maybe some aspects are affected. Let's say the quantity. We don't have so many people, but the quality is there. So why is their iman is the most remarkable one? Lam yalhaqun nabi. They didn't see their prophet. So وَحُجِبَ عَنْهُمُ الْحُجَّةِ. And they don't see their imam, they don't see their hujjah. فَآمَنُوا بِسَوَادٍ عَلَى بَيَاضٍ. Their iman, their faith is based on the sawad, black, on white. Meaning books. They read textbooks, they look at Quran, they look at ahadith, and they become mu'min. The level of iman of these people is much higher than those who saw Rasulullah in front of them. They sat down with Rasulullah, they ate with Rasulullah, or Ahlul Bayt. So we shouldn't think that because we have those riwayat speaking negatively about Akhir zaman, end of times, that's the only reality about Akhir zaman. No. Akhir zaman has two sides. Yes, it's true. Those riwayat are correct. I'm not saying those riwayat are not correct. In that environment, in that, we can say, hostile environment for iman, there will be people that their iman is a'jabun nas imanan. It's like the best of iman. Their yaqeen is the best of yaqeen. In another riwayah, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam narrates from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. ذات يوم وعنده جماعة من أصحابه. Rasulullah was sitting down and his companions were around him. And he said, Allahumma laqni ikhwani marratain. Oh Allah, let me meet my brothers. So Rasulullah sitting amongst his companions and he makes this dua. Allahumma laqni ikhwani. Oh Allah, let me meet my brothers. 2 times. Companions ask, aren't we your brother? Like, you are very close to us, we are close to you. Aren't we considered your brother? And Rasulullah said, no, you are my companions. Then he describes his brother. فقال من حوله من أصحابه أما نحن إخوانك يا رسول الله؟ فقال لا إنكم أصحابي وإخواني قوم في آخر الزمان آمنوا ولم يروني. Rasulullah said, no, you are my companions. My brothers are a people who will come in the end of times. They will believe in me without ever having seen me. This is very important. Those who saw Rasulullah, they had this blessing of seeing Rasulullah with their own eyes. But for them to be mu'min was much easier because they were interacting with the hujjah. But what about those that they never saw their Rasul, they never saw their Imam? If they believe in Rasul and in their Imams, that level of iman is much higher. Allah has made them known to me by their names, the names of their fathers, and even the wombs from which they will be born. For one of them, holding firmly to his religion will be more difficult than stripping the thorns from the qotad shrub. So you saw that there are some shrubs that they have thorns on them. Yeah? In Arabic, when they want to describe, there is a very difficult task. They say, when you take the thorn by your hand from the shrub, They say this is dunahu khartul qatat. This is an Arabic term. Rasulullah says that keeping their iman at that time is harder than doing this, taking the thorn from the shrub. Or like grasping burning embers of the jamra, like from the special qadha tree. So as if for them to have iman at that time is to hold the embers in their hands. This is the iman that they have. So yes, it is difficult at the end of the time to have iman, but the level of iman is much higher, and the quality of iman for those who have iman is also much higher. If we were told 30 years ago that there will be a time that around 15 to 20 million, sometimes more, Shia would walk from Najaf to Karbala for 5, 10, 15 days, and they will have food, they will have place to sleep, they will have everything, and they don't need to spend a penny from their pocket. You would call that person, if we were merciful, crazy. Because 30 years ago, Saddam was ruling in that country. Not only he was against Shia, but even he was against Islam. He was a nationalist. He was promoting that Arab is better than non-Arab. Yeah? And to tell people that there will be a day that people from all over the world, not Arabs only, they come, and these Iraqi brothers, they will serve them, and the number is like 20 millions. That they would call you a crazy person. So we should look at these examples, live examples of today, that in the middle of all the, we can say, the wickedness that exists in this world, the wicked act that the enemies are doing, these are the people that they weren't before. Their iman becomes stronger and became stronger and is becoming stronger. They are working on themselves. Every year, the movement and the walk of Arbaeen is getting stronger. Aren't these people living in the time that we are living in? They are, yeah? Those negative those rawayat that describes the akhir zaman, the end of times, with all those negative traits, should affect them or not? No, because iman is stronger than the environment. If I'm a mu'min, my iman is stronger than the environment that I'm living in. Yes, keeping iman is like keeping embers in the hand. It's very hard. But for those who shows steadfastness, the level and the quality of their iman becomes very pure, to the extent that the people at the time of Rasulullah didn't have that iman. So we should look at this aspect of Akhir Zaman as well. We should look at the aspect that there are opportunities now that they didn't exist before. So if someone asks, Shaykhuna, amongst all the topics you could have talked about, why did you choose this one? What is the importance of this topic to talk on these nights of majalis that we have? I would mention 2 points, because there is a misunderstanding regarding the riwayat that describes the Akhir Zaman, especially those who describes Akhir Zaman as a very negative time, which is true in itself, but as I've said, is not complete. We should look at the complete picture. One of them is that when we focus and constantly hear that this time is not a good time, we are not living in a good time, it is true. But when we don't hear about the other part of the story, As a result, we fall into the trap of shaitan. How? Shaitan says, brother, because shaitan is talking very nicely and even wants to deceive us. Says like, no one is as faithful as you are. Why do you killing yourself? Why do you bother even? Don't you see people are just free, they do what they want to do, no one cares. If you even pray, not every day, you are a very good mu'min. Shaitan wants to say, look at the environment around you, because the environment around you is not a friendly environment for religion. For you to be even a little bit religious is a very big deal. Be proud of yourself. Don't worry too much. Yeah? This is a trap of shaitan. Why? Because we should say, no, it's not like that. The environment is hostile to mu'mineen, is not friendly, we know that. But Rasulullah said, if I become a proper mu'min, my iman will become higher than those who were at the time of Rasulullah, those who saw Rasulullah. There is a potential here. Shaitan wants to waste that potential by saying, don't worry, like there is no one practicing. Look at your number. Few people, few mu'mineen, and you amongst all the mu'mineen, you are doing the best. And look at everyone else. And with drawing this comparison between us that we are practicing, inshallah, and those who are not practicing, trying to kind of boost us and say, oh, don't worry, you have a great iman. Your iman is very strong. By kind of putting the focus on the negative part of the Akhir al-Zaman, while doesn't let us to know about the positive traits of the mu'minin in the Akhir al-Zaman. We shouldn't set the bar low. We shouldn't say that we are in the time that we don't see our Imam al-Hujjah. We are at the time that the earth is like filled with the oppression and corruption. So for me to do minimum of my iman and minimum of like practicing Islam is more than enough. This is what shaitan wants us to do. This is what shaitan wants us to set the bar low, to say, Allah, you don't have to kill yourself for iman. You are fine. You are ahead of so many. But this is not correct. We shouldn't compare ourselves with the people that we are living in this environment. We are preparing ourselves for something else that inshallah I will talk about. The next point is that Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam has a riwayah that al-alimu bi zamanih la tahjimu alayhi al-lawabis. One who understands the condition of his time will not be overwhelmed by ambiguities and doubts. Al-alim bi zamanih. This is a concept. If I don't know the time I'm living in, if I don't see the opportunities in the time that I'm living in, and I just focus on the time is negative, people are like not doing well, society is getting more corrupted and more corrupted. If I just focus on that part, and I don't see the potential I have for my iman and faith, that Rasulullah said, "A'jabun nas imanan," the most remarkable people in their faith, and the best of yaqeen. If I don't see that, I'm not a person who knows his time. I'm a person that I'm thinking, oh, okay, just to do the minimum is enough for this time. I'm not al-alam bi-zamana. I'm not the one who understands the conditions of his time. What is the time we are living in? We are living in the end of the time, yeah? What is end of the time? This time is the time that has the potential to be connected to the reappearance of Imam al-Hujjah Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. This is not a simple time. We are in the most important time of the history. If I want to, let me read this riwayah to you from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam about Imam al-Hujjah. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, لَوْ أَدْرَكْتُهُ لَخَدَمْتُهُ أَيَّامَ حَيَاتِي. I've mentioned that we are living in the time of Imam al-Hujjah. We shouldn't think that Imam is absent. No, Imam is not absent. Imam is present. He is doing the Imamah. Yes, we can't see him with our physical eyes. It doesn't mean that Imam is absent. It's impossible for Imam to be absent. Like, we shouldn't think that Imam is just na'uzubillah, resting until Dhuhr comes, until the time of reappearance comes. So we are living at the time of Imam al-Hujjah. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, were I to witness his era, I would devote every day of my life to serving him. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, who we are known as Ja'fari because of him. Imam Sadiq was the one who introduced Shia to the Islam and to the world, to the extent that we are called Ja'faris, yeah? Shias, because of Ja'farun al-Sadiq. The grandfather of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam says, if I live in his time, I would devote my life in serving him. We are living in the time of Imam al-Hujjah. We are living in the time of Imam al-Hujjah, in the time that has the potential to have the most remarkable iman, to have the a'zamun nas yaqinan, the greatest certainty. This is the time. The potential is there. Yes, the difficulties are there, but opportunities are within difficulties. If Karbala did not happen, we wouldn't have the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and we couldn't understand what is the level of devotion. Whenever we want to mention an example of devotion and loyalty, we talk about Karbala. We go back there and we mention the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That became possible because the situation was difficult. Within that difficulty, some people, even few, used that opportunity to reach to the highest level of iman. This is the time we are living in. So inshallah, in the coming nights, I would like to talk about the time that we are living in, which is the time of Imam al-Hujjah Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and how we use this opportunity to maximize our iman, to maximize this potential even within this environment that is not that much friendly for iman and ahlul iman, that we have to kind of swim against the stream, inshallah. I will end my lecture here by a dua of Imam Rida alayhi salam, which today is based on some narrations, the day of his shahada. And inshallah we have musibah, and after that our brother inshallah will benefit us. Imam Rida alayhi salam prays for Imam al-Mahdi and says, وَلَا تَبْتَلِنَا فِي أَمْرِهِ بِالسَّأْمَةِ وَالْكَسَلِ وَالْفَتْرَةِ وَالْفَشَلِ وَجَعَلْنَا مِمَّنْ تَنْتَصِرُ بِهِ لَدِينِكِ. Don't test us in his matter with weariness, laziness, loss of resolve, or failure. Rather, make us among those through whom you grant victory to your religion. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا. اللهم صل على علي بن موسى الرضا المرتضى. الإمام التقي النقي وحجتك على من فوق الأرض ومن تحت الثرى الصديق الشهيد صلاة كثيرة تامة زاكية متواصلة متواترة مترادفة كأفضل ما صليت على أحد من أوليائك. Imam Reza alayhi salam told Abba Salt, "O Abba Salt, I'm about to go to Ma'amun. When I come out, if you see that I have drawn my cloak over my head, then don't speak to me." Abba Salt waited. When the Imam came, he saw that he has indeed covered his head with his cloak. His condition had completely changed. The narration describes him as يَتَمَلْمَلُ كَتَمَلْمُلِ السَّلِيمِ. Imam is in pain like one who had been bitten by a venomous snake. They returned home. Imam said, "Abba Salt, don't allow anyone to come in to see me. Close the door." He entered his room. It's narrated that he even rolled up the carpet and lay directly upon the earth of his chamber, like one overcome by the bite of a serpent. We don't know, perhaps he wished to follow the example of his grandfather, Sayyid al-Shuhada, on the day of Ashura, who is in final moments, after falling from his horse, place his blessed face upon the scorching sands of Karbala, saying, "Ilahi ridan biqada'ik wa tasliman la'amrik. وَلَا مَعْبُودَ سِوَاكَ." My Lord, I'm content with your decree. These are the last words of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Fully submissive to your command, and there is no deity besides you. Yet as Imam Reza alayhi salam himself told Ibn Shabib, there is a great difference between the two. Here, for Imam al-Rida alayhi salam, Imam al-Jawad came miraculously from Medina and held the blessed head of Imam al-Rida alayhi salam in his lap. But in Karbala, while Imam Hussein alayhi salam was in Qatlegah, in his madbah, and he was busy with the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he suddenly felt a heavy weight upon his chest. Imam alayhi salam opened his eyes and saw الشمر جالس على صدرك قابض على شيبتك بيده. If Imam Rida didn't teach us to recite musibah like this for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we wouldn't dare to mention this part of Maqtal. But Imam alayhi salam told Ibn al-Shabib, "In kunta bakiyan li shay'in fabkil al-Hussein." O son of Shabib, if you wish to weep, then weep only for my grandfather al-Hussein. Ya Imam Rida, for which of his tragedies should one weep? فإنه ذبح كما يذبح الكبش. For indeed he was slaughtered as a ram is slaughtered. At this very moment, the women of the Ahlul Bayt heard the cry of Zuljana. They rushed out from their tents with the hope of seeing Abu Abdullah al-Hussein one more time. But they saw Zuljana without his rider. When they reach an elevated place to look at what's happening on the plain of Karbala, they saw that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam no longer had the strength to defend himself. He was completely surrounded from every direction. The enemy attacked him with every weapon they possess. فرقة بالعصا وفرقة بالحجارة. Can you imagine the family of Imam Hussein? The women and children are witnessing this moment. Zainab al-Kubra did everything within her power to stop them, but to no avail. What could the daughter of Amir al-Mu'minin do? She placed her hands upon her head and cried out, Wa Muhammadan wa Aliya wa Husayna. Ama fikum Muslim. Is there not even one Muslim among you? نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم بشهدائنا وبإمام زماننا يا الله 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 يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. O Allah, save our brothers and sisters, all the Muslimin, wherever they are in this world, especially in Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Yemen, Palestine, and all the Muslimin all around the world from the enemies. ببركة الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
Brothers and sisters, inshallah, we'll have a very short, inshallah, matam. A few minutes of matam, inshallah. That's followed by adhan and salat al-maghrib and isha, inshallah. As-salamu ala al-Husayn mazlum. As-salamu ala al-Husayn mazlum. السلام على الحسين مظلوم السلام على الحسين مظلوم السلام على الحسين السلام على الحسين مظلوم السلام على السلام على الحسين مظلوم السلام السلام على الحسين مظلوم السلام مظلوم يا ابن زهرا حسین داد از جدایی ابن زهرا حسین داد از جدایی گشت زینب دوباره کربلایی گشت زینب دوباره کربلایی من ز شام بلا آمدم کربلا من ز شام بلا آمدم کربلا السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام علی السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام علی من 40 شب غم 100 ساله دارم من 40 شب غم 100 ساله دارم آه و فریاد و اشک و ناله دارم آه و فریاد و اشک و ناله دارم آه و فریاد و اشک و ناله دارم ای غمت قاتلم ای غمت قاتلم بی تو خون شد دلم بی تو خون شد دلم السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام سلام علی المظلوم السلام حسین مظلوم من سرت را به نوک نیزه دیدم من سرت را به نوک نیزه دیدم صوت قرآن ز لبهایت شنیدم صوت قرآن ز لبهایت شنیدم ناله از دل زدم سر به محمل زدم ناله از دل زدم سر به محمل زدم السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام علی السلام علی المظلوم السلام علی من به تشت طلا من به تشت طلا نظاره کردم من به تشت طلا نظاره کردم در عزایت گریبان پاره کردم در عزایت گریبان پاره کردم از جا قیام به تو گفتم سلام کردم از جا قیام به تو گفتم سلام السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام علی السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام تو شد آن شب به رخ اشکت روانه تو شد آن شب به رخ اشکت روانه من شدم شاهد دفن شبانه من شدم شاهد دفن شبانه تازه شد بر همه قربت فاطمه تازه شد بر همه قربت فاطمه السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام علی مظلوم السلام علی الحسین مظلوم السلام علی ابا عبدالله ابا عبدالله ابا عبدالله عبدالله ابا عبدالله عبدالله ابا عبدالله ابا عبدالله الحسين صلى الله عليك يا مظلوم يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوات الله صل على محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.